Hello Internet, and welcome to another episode of Gaming Strategy. Today we get to look at one of my top favorite Pokemon of all time, and I'm rather excited about this. It's also going to be one of my first ORAS specific builds, and I'm really excited. Let's get to it. Okay, so here we are, where we'll be looking at Gallade. So, I've got 6 Gallade builds here that just show how diverse and how amazing this Pokemon can be. You can have a Gallade for pretty much any team, and he is just awesome. So let's start with our first build here. It's strictly just for utility. All of his moves, all his stats, everything just kind of revolve around how utility can be used. And just to start off, item, Focus Sash. He doesn't have extremely great defense. His special defense is really good, but his defense is okay. And to get this build to work, for him to always go 1-1, he will always kill someone. Focus Sash is a must. And ability out of Steadfast and Justified. Justified just seems a little bit better, just because of the Dark typing. Getting at that attack boost after Dark type. It really doesn't matter which one you go with especially with this build. Either one, there's not a huge difference. And then for attacks, on first build we're looking at Destiny Bond, Thunder Wave, Brick Break, and Pain Split. This is going to be pure utility, like I've said. Destiny Bond lets you always get that 1-1, especially when you're first turn Thunder Wave. That will almost always guarantee you will go first, second, and second turn as long as they don't have priority, which allows you to Destiny Bond for a free kill. If they don't kill you on the first hit, or they go for something, or they're setting up screens or anything like that, you can always Brick Break. And if they don't do a whole bunch of damage, you can always whittle away their health with the Pain Split and knock their health down a little bit while healing yourself, maybe even getting you back into Focus Sash proc range. And then, so let's go to stats for our first build here. And, well, actually these aren't right. It should be 136 on special defense, and then 116 on defense. Okay, that's better. So what we're looking at here is you want to make him relatively defensive as best as possible. Rounded out his special defense to 300, and then gave everything else into defense. Speed max, just so you can outspeed a lot of things. That 80 base speed does outspeed quite a bit, especially after a Thunder Wave, which knocks whatever it is in half. Giving him Jolly Nature. You could also, with this build, I wouldn't recommend it because you do want to outspeed as much as possible, but you could go with the Careful and get that extra special defense going. But like I said, Jolly does tend to be the better choice of the two because you do get a little bit extra speed and can outspeed a few extra things, especially after that Thunder Wave. Moving on to our second build, it's more of a straightforward combat special defense wall. He can wall out a lot, especially now that he can get Move Tutored Drain Punch from the ORAS Move Tutors. So we're looking at giving him the Citrus Berry for 1, and then Steadfast or Justified both work for this build equally. There's a lot of flinch, a lot of fake out first turn moves out there, and Dark type, I mean, it is one of his technically something that someone might want to throw at you. I mean, he's fighting type, but you never know. And then we do have, so then our attacks, we're looking at Calm Mind, getting that extra special defense, and special attack isn't a big thing here, but the special defense, it's awesome. And then you could always switch this out with a Sword Stance if you didn't want the special defense boost, but you do kind of want him walling stuff out. And the Calm Mind seems to be the only special defense boosting attack that he has that I know of. Let me scroll through these really quick and double check, but I'm fairly certain this is the only special defense boosting attack that he has. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, Calm Mind. The special attack boost isn't really what we're worried about. We're more looking for that special defense boost. You get 1 or 2 of those Calm Minds off, and then you can pretty much Drain Punch your way into victory. For this build, you're looking at maxing out special defense and attack, just so you can have that extra special defense for tanking stuff and the attack for the attack. And then Careful Nature is probably your best bet. For the third build, it's basically the same. We're just dropping the Citrus Berry for an Assault Vest. This gives you no setup required, and you just start off with the 1.5 times special defense. And then it also gives you an extra slot, which I usually toss in an Aerial Ace just for that extra flying damage. Let me actually go back to the rest of the attacks on this one. Double Edge, Drain Punch, and Earthquake, whereas on this one we're looking at Double Edge, Earthquake, Aerial Ace, Drain Punch. So these two are pretty much the same. Just dropping the 1 attack for the Calm Mind for an Aerial Ace or any of his other coverage like Leaf Blade. You could also go with Close Combat. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can switch this out for. You can go with Dual Chop. But Aerial Ace does take out a lot of things, especially it can take out a lot of threats like the whole Substitute Breloom that people like to run. It does a ton of damage to Breloom because of his massive attack stat. For our fourth build, it's going to be another utility set. This one's going to be a little trickier than the others. No pun intended. We have the item that we're running is going to be Black Sludge. Again, ability isn't going to really matter between the two. Pick which one you want. On this one, Steadfast does play a little bit more role because you're not attacking anything, but all in all, is really not a huge difference. So for these, we're going to run Trick, Toxic, Grudge, and Pain Split. Seeing he's not a poison type, you can trick that Black Sludge on anything, and then it gets 1/8 on its health off of its health every turn. That's going to be massive tick damage on top of Toxic. Seeing that you should be if you send him out on a special attacker, he should be able to tank those special hits really well. First turn Trick, second turn Toxic. If you need the health, you can always Pain Split, and if you feel like you're going to die, Grudge, and then they can no longer use the attack that they used to kill you with. This setup has worked really well for me in the past, and like I said, it does amazing tick damage, amazing damage over time. With you can pretty much 1/1 anything with this, and maybe even 2/1, which is just, I mean, it's great utility, great setup. A lot of people don't see stuff like this coming just because he is such a massive attacker. These utility set walls are kind of just to throw things up. People don't expect it. A lot of mind games going on. And now for the two best builds of today, we're going to be looking at Mega-Gallade, which, of course, he's going to be holding Gallade. His inner focus ability, he cannot be made to flinch. In his attacks, we're going to be looking at Drain Punch, Swords Dance, Dual Chop, and Aerial Ace. Massive, massive damage coming out of this guy. He's got, I mean, there are so many moves that you can put on him, and there's so much coverage. Drain Punch, though, is going to be your sustain. You're going to want that on every build. Swords Dance, you're going to want on pretty much every build. You're going to want to first turn Swords Dance into the Drain Punch for the extra health, and then coverage out for any other thing that you can imagine. You can drop the Aerial Ace, like I said before, and give him Leaf Blade. Drop this, give him Close Combat, which is going to lower his defenses. Not a great trade-off. You can always drop it to not double team. Not double team. Double edge. Thank you. And then with that 33% recoil, always switch back to the Drain Punch and get your health back. I mean, you could go with the Earthquake, take out fire types. I mean, there's just so many combinations of so many different moves. You're going to want to put on whatever you don't have, and you can coverage that out with pretty much anything that you can imagine, any typing. I mean, he's got poison, he's got fighting, he's got flying, he's got grass, he's got rock, you can go with the rock slide, he's got the Fury Cutter on the bug. I mean, there's just so many different moves that you can put on him that go really well with how much power he has behind his hits. That, I mean, it's just amazing. He's got Thief, that's 60 base damage. With his, I mean, 165 base attack on Mega-Gallade. He's got a massive attack stat. 471 after you putting that Adamant Nature on him with max EVs and IVs. You can always go with the Jolly, but you get so much more out of the Nature with the Adamant. There's a bigger boost because it's all percentage. That the Adamant just makes more sense. You do way more damage. The ×2 on the Swords Dance adds way more. I mean, he's just has this huge boost behind him. When you get the Mega on him, he gets the same amount of special defense, but his defense gets boosted, his speed gets boosted, his attack gets boosted, and he becomes this huge, huge threat. As soon as he Megas, he becomes this huge threat that, I mean, there's very little that can deal with it. So first turn Swords Dance, and then from there you can just coverage out to whatever you need. You can always run a Protect, so you can first turn Protect on the Mega Evolution, but just so you know your stats and everything kick in. But I recommend the first turn Swords Dance, and then going into whatever coverage moves you have, or Drain Punch, because of how much damage he's going to be doing, how much health he's getting back. And then, I mean, this is pretty much the same thing. This is showing more Leaf Blade, Shadow Sneak. He gets that Shadow Sneak priority underneath that Drain Punch, underneath the Swords Dance. I mean, he's got everything to coverage out. He's got everything he needs to deal a lot of damage. He's got sustain to stay on the field. He's got defenses to not take a lot of damage. And he's just this, he is a really big threat. And that, for the most part, is Gallade, both Mega and regular. It's my first Mega coverage, so that is plus. He's more meta, but like I said, he's one of my favorites, and this is going to be a leeway into talking about some of the ORAS move tutor moves that some Pokemon are getting. So, with ORAS, Gallade has become an even bigger threat out there. He's got, across the board, he's got new moves that he can learn. His bred moves like Destiny Bond, Pain Split, Shadow Sneak are easier to get on him in ORAS. And he gets Screen Punch from move tutors, and he gets Dual Chop from move tutors, and he gets Mega from ORAS. He's just become this huge threat, and he is. I don't see him run a lot. I really don't, and I wish I would see him more, because he is such a great Pokemon, and seeing him run in strategies would just be great. These are just like all my builds. These are just some thoughts, some criticisms, and such, and some ideas. There's so many more dynamics to all of them that these are just to get people thinking, and I hope that this gets you thinking, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. As always, have a nice day, and everybody take care. This is Draku, signing out.